Alan, great to see you.
You too.
Fantastic to be in Lexington today. I don't get here much. Haven't been here really, I think, in 45 years, since I used to come regularly to get the Adolph Rupp Award when I was playing for UCLA and John Wooden. And it was a very tough deal because as a lifelong stutterer, I could not say a word until I was 28 years old. So when I was in college, I couldn't do any of the stuff that I do today. And so Coach Wooden, he always kept insisting, Bill, you've got to go to these events. You've got to go and receive these awards. I said, I'm not going. I can't talk. I said, you go, Coach. I want to be a college student. And he said, we'll both go together. And so we came here, and it was very nice. And the people of Kentucky have always treated me better than I deserve. It's fantastic to be back. It's been too long, though.
Wow, that's a really cool story.
Yeah.
When you say Kentucky basketball, the first thing that comes to your head is?
Excellence. One of the legendary programs ever. And the ability of the Kentucky Wildcat program to sustain and to keep it going, because that's the whole key in life, is to make it keep rolling over. And that's really why I'm here today, because to be able to come here with Kentucky One and St. Joseph's East Hospital here and Dr. James Rice and spread the message. This is an educational tour for me to where I come around and I speak about life after back surgery. And so my life was over 9 years ago. I had my spine surgery 8 years ago. I'm doing better than ever, Alan. I'm just fantastic. My spine feels tremendous. I take no medication. I have no pain whatsoever. I'm active as can be. I'm busier than I've ever been. I'm happier than I've ever been. And I haven't been this healthy since I was 13 years old. So thank you to my spine surgeons. Thank you to NuVasive, the medical device and spine technology company, which has pioneered all these incredible new advances in terms of technology, equipment, procedures, techniques, and all the different things that they can do now, because and it's completely changed in the 8 years since I've had mine. So to be able to come here and to think in terms of Kentucky basketball and what John Calipari's been able to do, what all the legends have been able to do over the year, Adolph Rupp, my early friendship with Pat Riley. Pat was on the San Diego Rockets when I was in high school. Pat married Christine, a girl from my high school. Now, he didn't marry her when she was in high school, but it was it was a fantastic experience. I did not know her. No, they're older than I am. I knew Pat. And so I had the key to the gym, to the high school gym, and we had the best gym in all of San Diego. And with the Rockets, with Pat Riley and Elvin Hayes and Rudy Tomjanovich and Calvin Murphy and Stu Lance and legendary coaches. I mean, Pete Newell was the executive in the office, but you had Tex Winter, you had Alex Hannum, you had Jack McMahon, and all, people who were just so kind and nurturing to me, little Billy, with his red hair and his big nose and his freckles and his goofy, nerdy looking face and his horrendous speech impediment. But I was chasing the dream. And I was super lucky in that I had mentors, I had heroes, I had role models. And that, now that I'm 64, that's the job that I have now. And so when people have spine problems, and it's a horrific malady, I've had a lifetime, Alan, marred by orthopedic health crises. 37 total operations on the entire body, feet, knees, hands, spine. But this spine one, that was the toughest one of them all. But fortunately, I'm all better because I had a brilliant surgeon, and Steve Garfin in San Diego, and then NuVasive, which is the company that has come up with all the hope. Because without hope, without a dream that tomorrow's going to be better, we really have nothing. And that's what Kentucky's all about. And to know all the people over the years, from C.M. Newton to Rick Pitino to now John Calipari to Adolph Rupp, and then the fact that John Wooden's last game ever coached was against Kentucky. We never played Kentucky when I was in college, but one of my teammates at the Portland Trail Blazers, Larry Steele, played here. Mm-hmm. And then some of my greatest rivals, Dan Issel, Louis Dampier, and all the guys, and all the people that I've had the privilege to get to know over the years. And then my great friends in Lexington from UK, Tom Hammond and Jim Host, two people that have just changed my life in immeasurable fashion. And to be able to come here and celebrate and to spread the good news, the message of hope that if you have spine problems, you've got a chance. But it's just like basketball. It's just like life. You cannot sit there and wait for the game of life to fall in your lap. You can't wait for it to come to you. Because when you have spine problems, everybody, Aunt Myrtle, Uncle Fred, Aunt Lois, they're all going to come to you and say, don't ever have spine surgery. It'll be the worst thing. Your life will be over. It'll make it worse. That's not the case. When I was going through my ordeal, I never spoke to one single person who had anything positive to say about spine surgery. I didn't know. People don't know. The doctors, they're unable, because they're so busy, because they're so focused, they're unable to spread the message. And so we formed an organization, The Better Way Back. TheBetterWayBack.org, phone number 800-745-7099. That's 800-745-7099, TheBetterWayBack.org. And we are a group of over 3,000 ambassadors nationwide. We're the voice of the patients. And so we come and we spread the news. We tell the people what it's like, because when you're the patient, and you go from being on the ground, unable to move, to function, to live, to breathe, to eat, to do anything, you can't even think, to doing what I can do now, just go full speed all day. I go to the pool every morning, I'm in the weight room every morning, and then I ride my bike as long as I possibly can. No limitations physically, but I'm just so darn busy these days, Alan, and it's very tough. But to be a part of that celebration and to be an advocate, to have purpose, and there is no greater reward. I spend hours every day on the phone, face to face, on the internet, convincing people to not kill themselves. More people kill themselves from spine pain than from anything else. And I'm looking at you, Alan, and I want you to improve your posture a little bit, please. You're kind of leaning over there. That's terrible for your spine.
An hour and 20 of yoga this morning.
Okay.
Seriously.
So sit up straight,
well,
man. Come on.
Now.
Okay.
I used to have a bad back. My back is fine.
You're leaning in for a better camera angle.
No, my face doesn't need to be on TV. My problem is if I turn like this, my nose is going to cover the whole camera. So it's a problem.
I'm the one with the big nose, Alan. Come on.
Proportion-wise, I'm not sure.
14 broken noses. If you're still able to play basketball, don't play defense with your face. This is what happens to you.
I would think after the first time you'd learn that.
Coach Wooden and Phil Knight were right. Walton, you're the slowest learner we've ever had.
Works. Let me try a little basketball.
Sure.
I'm going to make you commissioner of basketball right now.
Okay.
College basketball.
College basketball.
College basketball. Forget the NBA. We're in Lexington.
So college.
What change would you like to make? One change.
Have the coaches play by the same rules as the players. Whatever the rules are, apply them equally to everybody.
So if a coach can leave, a player can leave.
Absolutely. And with the huge and vast amounts of money in college sports right now, bring that money down. I'm always for whatever brings the money down in the pyramid.
Okay, so what would you pay?
Don't worry about it.
What would you pay a basketball player to play at Kentucky?
There are smarter people than me that can figure out. You can't have a figure because the revenues at, say, the University of Texas, the revenues at University of Alabama, the revenues at UK, it's all different. And the cost of living is different.
Billion
Absolutely.
Business.
For the company I work for, ESPN, it's just fantastic. And we're so happy and we're so proud. But when there's so much money involved, that money has to be distributed. It has to be, it can't just go to one person. And the quality of life and the ability of the people who were running the whole show to create the desirable culture that people want to be involved. And so what Calipari does here is just incredible in terms of the spirit, the enthusiasm, the joy, the pride, the loyalty, the gratitude. His teams, they're in shape, they play hard, and they play as a unit. There's a goal, there's a message. And when I was there in Springfield a couple years ago when John Calipari went into the Basketball Hall of Fame, it was staggering what I witnessed, because every year at the very end of the ceremony, they bring all the old guys up there and they take a group picture, right? This time, John, who was speaking last, Instead of doing that, I don't think he was aware that this was supposed to happen.
No,
so he called up his entire group of players who would come, and there were literally 250 players on the stage that day, and from every stop along the way, from his high school players to his college players to his pro players, it was staggering. And that is a sign, Alan, of respect and of gratitude, and the players who love John Calipari, as I do, for what he does. And when I was watching last year's NCAA tournament game between UCLA and Lonzo Ball and TJ Lee.
You're smiling.
And oh man, we're very proud at UCLA. And then Kentucky hammered us. And it was a realization in that Kentucky, better program, better players, better team, better coach, everything. And that is an indication of just how far we have to come to get back into the conversation. And what John Calipari is able to do on a consistent basis in terms of attracting the next generation of talent. You didn't want to talk about the NBA, but two things that I would do in the NBA that would help the college game: make it so that you have to be 21 to play in the NBA. You want to work in marketing, you want to work in technology, you want to work in sales, you want to work in game ops, whatever it is you want to do in the NBA, you can be whatever age you want. You want to be a player in the NBA, you got to be 21. And then the second thing that I would do, Alan, is that with the rookie wage scale, 5 years currently as existing with the collective bargaining agreement, I would have the rule that, because the agents use that rookie wage scale to convince the players to leave right away to get that 5-year period over with so that they can get a bigger contract later. So how about a rule that says for every year you stay in college, you get a year removed from that rookie wage scale?
It's actually a good idea.
Yeah. Who knows? We'll see.
They'll never pass it. The lawyers will never let that happen. You know that. It's a good idea, but it'll never happen.
I'm not in charge.
I got you.
I'm a dreamer.
No, nothing wrong with that. You got a dream to make it happen.
I want to make things better in my life and in the lives of others. And that's why I do what I do. I'm the luckiest guy in the world, Alan. I know how many people have sacrificed so much so that little Billy could have a chance. And nobody has made more mistakes. Nobody's failed more than I have.
Why do you call yourself Little Billy?
Because that was my nickname growing up. That was my name growing up.
Little Billy.
I am Little Billy from San Diego. I'm a hippie from San Diego. We get dressed in the parking lot, and I did get dressed in the parking lot right out here.
Did you really?
As we came down. We
put on your USA basketball crew shirt?
Well, this is the shirt today.
Okay.
I'm very proud. I'm the only high school player to have ever made the U.S. national team, and to have played
that's right. I forgot about that.
Either played in the Olympics or the World Championship. I played in the World Championship in 1970 in what was then Yugoslavia, and it was, at the time, the best and the worst experience of my entire life, because I grew up in it with, my parents, zero interest in sports, zero. Never shot a basket with my dad. Saw him run one time at the church picnic and fell over laughing. But I rarely encountered anyone that did not have my best interest at heart until I was 21 years old and I joined the NBA. And then everything changed in my life. And so with all the failures and all the mistakes, and none of the mistakes were conscious. I always thought I was doing the right thing. I always tried to do the right thing, but it just turned out to be the wrong thing. But here I am today, sustainability, keeping it going. And so when we come around and we spread this message of hope about a better life ahead, and to not just sit there in the unrelenting, in the debilitating, in the excruciating pain. Because that was my life. I've spent half my adult life in the hospital. I spent my entire adult life in constant chronic pain. Joint pain, bone pain, spine pain. All of that is gone. Both my ankles are fused. From the knee down, it's all one bone. I have no feeling down there, but I can go, and I can ride my bike, and I can walk for function, and I can sleep, and I can dream, and I can hope, and I can get up and get to work. Knee replacement 4.5 years ago. spine reconstruction, rebuild, regeneration of my whole spine 8.5 years ago. My spine surgery was February 8th, 2009, and ever since, it was the toughest thing I've ever done. But like all the other problems with my orthopedic musculoskeletal system, that I waited too long, and because I didn't know how fantastic a knee replacement could be. I didn't know how fantastic an ankle fusion would be. Because you think about it when you're going in and you haven't done it before, that your life is over. And that's what I thought about my spine. And now that I've done it, I said, why did I wait so long? And so nobody wants spine surgery. Nobody wakes up in the morning and says, man, do I ever love my health insurance company. Man, I think I'll just go down to the hospital and have spine surgery today. Nobody ever does that. But the possibilities for a better tomorrow. But unless you act, unless you take the initiative to go out there and do what it takes and take that first step. Because if your goal is to be pain-free, your goal is to have a functioning body, you can't get to that goal unless you get started. And so we always have a saying with the challenges that we face, you can't finish unless you start. And this right here is a huge start for us in the Better Way Back program. Dr. James Rice, St. Joseph's East. Wow, Kentucky one. It all rolls into one.
I appreciate your time.
Thank you, Alan.
We're going to throw this whole thing online, and somehow I'm going to chop this down to 90 seconds for the Fox Sports.
I got it.
Which will be no problem.